All right, folks, I think we're going to go ahead and get started with today's session, which is providing student feedback through Google Suite with Heather Schaefer. But first, a couple quick announcements. As always, just to make sure we can get your attendance, be sure to say hi in the chat. Also, we're just going to, quickly go through the workshops that we have running this week, the webinars here on the YouTube channel. So first off, tomorrow we will have creating digital weekly agendas for students. So be sure to tune in for that session. We'll just be talking about some different and creative ways that we can digitally create agendas for students. And then on Thursday this week, we are going to do a session on Google Sites as an assessment tool. So be sure to check that one out as well if you've been checking out our Google Sites webinars. And as always, like and subscribe just so you get notifications anytime that our videos post and they get ready to go up and go live. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Heather Schaefer.
With the Mohawk Regional Information Center, and today we're going to talk about student feedback in G Suite. So whether you're looking for something simple, something a little more unique, fun, serious, whether you're trying to streamline your process and workflow, or you're trying to actually give that personal touch to your Google Classroom that we're kind of missing at this time with teaching and learning from home, we're going to cover it all today. So hang in there. So let's start with Google Classroom, since most of us are using this as our platform for collecting and giving assignments to students. There's a few basic things I want to go over before we get into the more advanced things. So the most basic thing, and this is kind of obvious in a way, but I just want to point it out anyway, is that there's two different ways to comment on things in Google Classroom. And one of them is class comments. And so you'll see, like, if you click on a assignment and you go to view, under the instructions, you'll see class comments. And class comments are things that are viewable to everyone who's in the class, all of the teachers and all of the students. So if you have something that you want to share with everyone, this is a great place to do it. But if you're looking to give specific feedback to one particular student, then this is not the place to do it. I also want to point out that anywhere in Google Classroom where you're putting in comments, you can always tag a person or multiple people, and they will get notifications that you left comments for them. And the way you do that is just by adding the plus sign and then their email address. And you'll notice that it's in bold, and that tells you that that person will get an email. And I'll just hit send so you can see how it looks. All right, so if I were doing a class comment, let's say, and I were replying to a person in a stream of comments, that would be how I would get their attention and how they would know the comment is there. I also want to point out, and this is one of the more fun things, is that you can use emojis anywhere in Google Classroom, whether it's in a comment or even in the title of your class. Anywhere that you can type, you can put an emoji in Google Classroom. And kids love that. It's fun, but it's also like a language that they understand too. So some computers come with built-in keyboards with emojis, but in case yours doesn't, there is a website called emojicopy.com. And you can come here and you can put anything you want. You can search like thumbs up, and then you just click on it. And down here at the bottom, you will see that you can see the emoji and you can copy it. And you can do a string of emojis too. Like if I wanted to do the thumbs up, whoops, and a smile, let's say. I like this guy. Then you copy it and then go back to your Google Classroom and paste it. That smile didn't come out quite as I wanted it to. Great. Alrighty. So those are class comments. Then when you want to give personalized feedback to a student, you would want to go into the student work section. So see how there's two tabs here, and this is the teacher view. You have the instructions and the student work. Once you get into student work, when you first start using Google Classroom, you might not realize that you can actually click things and get more options within here. So over on the left, you'll see a list of your students. And if you click on that student's name, it will bring you into an area where you can provide comments and grades. And this is just one of those areas. So this is the basic one. So down here, you have your private comments. And you can also give the grade here. Now, when you're giving private comments to your student, it's important, to give quality feedback. And just as a quick reminder, quality feedback should be timely, which means you're not, giving it way after the assignment has been turned in, or it should also be specific. So whether you're talking about the content itself or maybe a strategy the student used for a specific task, you should address that and not just say like, wonderful job, which you saw me do before, but and also it should be actionable. So it should give the student an idea of how they can move forward and improve upon their work. So timely, specific, and actionable. But anyway, getting back to the commenting thing, here this comment would only go to that student. All right. Now I want to point out one more thing. If you can go one step further by actually clicking on the attachments that students have given you, and that will open up a brand new tab. And this is kind of like your customized grading panel. And so it actually will list, let me get my face out of the way here, all of the attachments over here underneath files. So if there's more than one, you'll see multiple. It'll also give you the place to put the grade right here, and then your private comments, just as in the previous screen that I was in. But in addition to that, you have a comment bank here. So if you find yourself using the same things over and over again with multiple students, you can actually build a bank of comments that you can use over again, and you can copy and paste them into the assignment or your comments. The other thing is that you can scroll between your students. Now, I only have one student in this class, but if you had multiple, you could use this drop-down menu to kind of go through your students for a very quick grading process. If you find that this grading panel is limiting and you actually need more options that you can find right within Google Docs, you can actually, excuse me, close this. There we go. You can actually go over here to where the files are listed, and you can click on this icon to open it in a brand new window in this case it's in Google Slides, and then you have your full range of tools that you have had previously. But as you saw me do in the grading panel, you can also expand your toolbar here as well. And we'll get into reasons in a little bit why you would want to use one or the other in different cases. Now, another thing to note about your comments here is that it may appear that this is a very simple space where you can just type text, but you would be wrong in assuming that. You can actually use this space for much, much more if you get creative. So, one way to do that is by including links. So you can put any URL in that space. So anything that has a link you can put in there. For example, I'm creating a Screencastify video right now, and if I wanted to give my students feedback, they could hear my voice, they could see my face. This is a very personalized approach, a very easy approach where you don't have to be typing for a long time, and you can just give that oral feedback to them. And once you're done, all you have to do is click your Screencastify icon in your Chrome browser toolbar there and go to My Recordings and choose one. Copy the shareable link from Google Drive, go back to your project, and simply paste that URL and post it. Another idea for something that you could link in the comments is maybe a form or office hours that you've set up on your Google Calendar that you would like your students to sign up for. So in another webinar, I covered this, but you could set up office hours that the students could sign up for. So you might want to link right to here, and then the students can come and use that to, set up an individual appointment with you to ask further questions. Another idea would be in Google Classroom, you can link to pretty much any post. So if I go back to my classwork section here, and let's say I wanted the students to go look at information in this assignment, let's say, I can click on the 3 dots here and go to copy link. And then I can post that, and I could say, please reference this assignment, and then post the link. So there really are endless options here. Let's say you needed them to review a skill. You could go find a video online that covers that skill, or maybe you've even pre-recorded one yourself, and it's in Google Drive, and you can post the link to that video for review right there in the comments as well. So many different options for using URLs in the comments. So let's switch gears a little bit here, and let's talk about some unique ways that you can have fun with your students while providing feedback. So one of the great ways that I love most is using my Bitmoji. Bitmojis are little avatars that look just like you, and you can get a Bitmoji for almost anything. So another way is by using memes. Our students have whole conversations in memes and GIFs as well. So you can bring those into your feedback just to spice it up a little bit and have some fun. And you can kind of think of these things almost as like digital stickers. And so it's always good for a teacher who's going to use these to create a library of such things, so you don't have to go searching for them every time you want to use them. So similar to that comment bank that I showed you in Google Classroom, where you're going to put things that you use all the time into a space where you can copy and paste them, you can use Google Keep to store all of your Bitmojis and memes and GIFs so that they're right on hand when you need them. And there's a really, really cool integration with Google Docs and Google Keep, which I'll show you in a moment. So let me open up my Google Keep here. And you can see that I've started a collection. I've put some animated GIFs in here. I've put some Bitmojis in here, and I've put some memes in here as well. And so all you have to do is take a new note, and then you can drag one of these into there, or you could even copy and paste as if it's a meme or a Bitmoji. You don't even have to have the file itself. And what I recommend is that you label them, like you can see that I've done down here. And what that's going to do is help you to find them easier when you start to get a larger library. So if you have like 200 of these and you're trying to find a specific one, you can add labels. Like I did mine by file type, but you can also do them by the type of feedback. Like maybe you're looking for something that says awesome. So everything that has like the word awesome in it, you're labeling it with awesome. Whatever system works for you. But to add a label, you would click the 3 dots and go to add label. And as you start creating labels, you'll see that you have choices, and you can pick multiple or you can pick just one. So now that you've seen how to build that, let's see how it works and why you would actually want to, and how it can save you tons of time. So let's go back to Google Classroom and let's go to our history project again. Now remember earlier when I told you that you might want to actually open this up in Google Slides? This is one of the reasons why you would want to do that. So I'm going to go over here and pop it out into a new tab in Google Slides. And the reason that I did that is because you'll see over here on the right hand side, I have an integration of Google Keep right here. So when I click on that icon, it kind of opens up Google Keep in like this sidebar. And all I have to do is drag and drop from there, which is super simple. So in Google Slides, one thing that I love about that is that you can have all these extra cool spaces where you can leave your feedback that won't interfere with the student's actual presentation. So if the student were to, for example, stand up in front of a class and give this presentation, you don't want to be adding things on top of their slides because then everyone would see your feedback. You kind of want to keep it hidden and private. So in Google Slides, if I just zoom out a little bit here, you have all of this gray space around here where you can add anything you want, and in presentation mode it is not visible. So if I wanted to add this Bitmoji, for example, I could just drag it and drop it in there and then just drag it off the side so that it's not visible on the slide itself. But the students who have, editing access to this will still be able to see it and know that you have given them feedback. Another thing too is that if they won't know that it's there unless they actually pop in and they see it. So one thing you might want to do is maybe click on it and then add a comment that says see feedback and then tag them in it, right? Plus Schaefer. Right? Oh, I used my wrong account. But anyway, you get the idea. I'm actually going to give them commenting rights. Okay. So that will give them that notification that you have something new to look at, so to speak. All right. I don't like how that's right on top of my picture. Let's see if I can move that a little bit. There we go. All right. So that's one way to do it. And same with any of these, like if you can just drag them and drop them and then move them off to the side. Another creative way to use space in Google Slides is if the student has not used the presenter notes down at the bottom, like this student has, but if they didn't, you could also type your feedback down there as well. So just something to keep in mind. So let's apply those same concepts to a Google Doc rather than Google Slides. Google Docs act a little bit differently than Google Slides. You can't necessarily drag something into the gray space on the sides or anything like that. And when you try to drag images into a Google Doc, it kind of messes with the formatting. So let me show you what I mean. So if I were to drag my Bitmoji into here, you can see, whoops, I didn't want you to see that yet. You can see that the text gets like cut or wrapped. And yes, I have formatting options, but they're not always the greatest. And plus, your feedback is right in the middle of the student's doc, which you really don't want to mess with. So rather than doing that, what you might want to consider doing is what I call the feedback footer. So down at the bottom, in the footer, which is kind of like separated from the document, down here, you can create a table and you can format it however you'd like. But one simple way to look at a feedback footer would be to put your name at the top and then kind of similar to a rubric, what you're looking for. on the left-hand side. And then you can put all of your text feedback and your images on the right. And it doesn't mess with the student's document because the document is above the footer and this is just down here at the bottom. And just like anything else, you can include, links to videos, links to sign up for an appointment, pretty much anything you want. Now, in this example, I was giving feedback to the student about using complete sentences. So I highlighted complete sentences, and then up in the text, I also highlighted where I needed them to apply that in their writing. So this is another way that you could give feedback, and it kind of gives it more structure. You're bringing in those fun pictures, but you're also giving very, timely, specific, and actionable feedback through your commenting and through the different things that you're looking for in that little checklist type thing. Another thing which you can also do in slides, which I pointed out a moment ago, but I didn't talk too much about, is the commenting feature. So let's say you didn't really want to go with the feedback footer. You could still highlight this text here, and you'll notice this little bubble that pops off to the side with a plus sign where you can add a comment. And so in here, just like in the private and the class comments in Google Classroom, you can use that plus, and you can put someone's email in there, and then you can write whatever you want. Please write incomplete sentences. Sentences. And you can also use all of those URLs in here. You could put a link to a Screencastify video. You could put a link to Google Classroom assignment. You could put a link to a video that addresses a specific skill. Anything that has a URL you can put in here as well. The only thing you can't put in here is the images. So if you want to use images, you would have to do a feedback footer or something a little bit more creative. And you'll notice that you have the option to assign it to the person if you want to, and then they can come in here, they can make their changes, they can fix it, and then they can hit the resolve button on their end. So just another thing to keep in mind when you're in Google Docs versus Google Slides. Another place where you can provide feedback for students is in Google Forms. So when you're in a Google form, in order to use the feedback feature, you need to turn it into a quiz. So by using the settings up here, you can go to the quizzes tab and make it a quiz. Now, when you do that, you have some new options. So underneath each question, you will see the option for an answer key and points. And when you click on it, you'll be able to select the right answer and assign it a point value if you wish to. Now, also, you can, in the answer key, add answer feedback right here. So you can add separate feedback for incorrect or correct answers. So maybe for incorrect, you want to say, no, please, I don't know, reference this video to learn more and try again. And then you can link to a YouTube video, or you could put a link to a video that maybe you have in Google Drive or somewhere else out on the web, whatever you want. And then for correct answers, you can say, congratulations. You really know your current events, or whatever you want. And again, you have the option to link to a website or put a YouTube video in there if your school allows you to, and hit save. And you can see the feedback right here. You could edit it, you could delete it. So that is automatic feedback that every student will get once they complete the quiz and they're looking over their answers to see if they got it right or wrong. Now, there's also a way that you can do individual responses as well for feedback. But in order to do that, we need to change the settings a little bit. So let's go back to settings. And you can see underneath quizzes here, you have the grade release options to be either immediate or later. And later turns on the email collection because once you give that individualized feedback, you are then going to email the students their grades and their feedback. So there's that. So we're going to hit save. And now what I can do is go in as the student and take the quiz. Be right back. So now in order to give that individual feedback, we just want to go over to responses. And you'll see you have 3 choices: summary, question, or individual. You want to be underneath individual. And then you'll see down here the option to add individual feedback. So I can say, no, Barack Obama was our last president. And save it. And there are a few extra steps here. So not only did I have to hit save there, I have to hit save here as well down at the bottom. And then you'll notice it says score not released yet. So I can actually go through and I can add individual comments for all my students. And then when I'm ready, I can hit release score. And what it'll do is it'll let me pick who I want to give the score to. I can put it in another message here if I want to, but it will send an email to each of those students. And then they'll be able to go in and they'll be able to see their responses. So as you can see, there's lots of ways to give feedback to students. Some are more serious, some are more fun, and we can mix the two up to create a really personalized experience for the kids that they will enjoy. They will get the information that they need about how they can improve on their learning, as well as probably get some face-to-face interaction with you if you decide to do the video feedback, and also some fun feedback as well with the Bitmojis, memes, and GIFs. So I hope that you